everyone, what is going on? My name's Archer Live and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I've got a full in-depth interview for you all regarding Payday Crime War, the mobile version of Payday 2. As a lot of you know, this is something that's been in the works for a very long time. If you are a bit behind on the news, feel free to check out my Payday Crime War playlist that I've newly produced. It's got all the news videos up to this point, but the main thing you need to know is that it's a mobile version of Payday 2, and it's being developed by Popreach Studios. This was originally an in-house production from Overkill and Starbreeze, but after a publisher collapse at Universal Studios, they decided to hand it over to Popreach to manage the game, and Popreach have rebuilt the game from the ground up and are now beginning to roll out the game on early access, with the Philippines already having some early access to the game. So I figured what better time than now to reach out to Popreach, get a chance to chat to the developers and get an idea of how the game's going to work, how it will differ from the previous versions of Payday Crime War, and just basically dive into some early access gameplay and talk about everything the game has to offer. So enjoy my interview with the lead developers on Payday Crime War, Ed Hicks and Cameron Wu, as we break down everything that's new about Payday Crime War, as well as some in-depth footage of the PvE game modes. For those of you who are new to this, there is going to be PvE in this game now, as well as PvP. Originally it was going to be PvP only, but now there are PvE elements to make it feel more like Payday 2 on your phone. But all of that is still to come, and if you do happen to enjoy this interview, please feel free to drop it a thumbs up, as it would help out a lot and show that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And please also leave a comment down below. Are you excited for Payday Crime War? Does this interview make you more excited for it? Let me know. And finally, if you are new around here, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I think we've got a pretty decent chance of pulling it off, so here's hoping. Either way, I'm going to roll right into the interview, so kick your feet up, relax, and enjoy a full in-depth conversation about Payday Crime War. Alright guys, welcome. I hope you're both doing okay. Shall we start off with some introductions? So if each of you could just say who you are and what your role is at Popreach, and maybe when you started working on Payday Crime War.
I'm Ed Hicks. I'm the lead designer on Payday Crime War, and I've been with Popreach from about the time that Popreach made the deal with Starbreeze to acquire the Payday Crime War product.
I'm Cameron. I'm a senior game designer here on the Payday Crime War team. I've been working on this game specifically for just over a year.
Okay, brilliant. So you both got a bit of experience with Payday Crime War then. Does that translate over to any of the Payday games? Are you familiar with the franchise at all outside of Payday Crime War?
Yeah, so I've played a bit of Payday 2 myself, and predominantly I'm a big co-op shooter fan. Stealth games, looter shooters, that's my bread and butter. So having a chance to delve into the Payday universe here and bring this kind of co-op PvE experience to mobile is super exciting.
For myself, my experience with Payday are pretty much with Payday 2 on the 360 and PC when it launched. I played it with my buddies for over a few months. I've always kept an eye on it while it kind of grew. It's a very unique game in that it kind of brings its own beats, its own ticks, and there isn't really a game like it where you're kind of robbing a bank, having fun. I mean, my most memorable moments with it are probably, trying to go stealthy and things inevitably going loud and just enjoying that whole aspect of it.
Yeah, it's definitely a very unique game. It's interesting that you've had kind of a long experience with it, even if you've dipped in and out since. It's cool to see that it's at least been on your radar for a long time, so that's really cool.
Oh, look at it not, right? Like one of the top games on Steam, hundreds of DLC updates. This game never dies, right? It's just going to keep going forever, and now into Payday 3, it's super exciting.
Yeah, biggest Steam community as well with Payday 2. It's certainly got an audience, that's for sure. So we've got some gameplay we're going to talk through shortly, but before we do that, I wanted to ask a couple of kind of pre-video questions to set a bit of context with regards to Crime War. So correct me if I'm wrong here, obviously, but when you guys were given the game, Overkill gave you access to their build of Payday Crime War for you to touch up, experiment around with, and give the Popreach spin. But you guys said not long afterwards that you decided it was a better idea to go from scratch, to build it up from the ground up and give it a proper Popreach spin. So my main question here is, what was the reasoning for that? Why did you think it was better to start from scratch? Did you have particular visions that you wanted to execute? What was the logic behind it?
Well, we looked at the Payday Crime War product in its current state there, and it was mainly a PvP experience, 4v4, cops versus robbers type experience. And while that was really interesting and really exciting to be able to bring PvP to Payday fans for the first time, we really wanted to try to capture what Payday is. And that's a PvE co-op experience where you're trying to become the ultimate heister, carrying out these jobs. That's what Payday is. And we wanted to bring that experience to a whole new fan base, right? We wanted people who maybe liked the idea of Payday, thought it was exciting to be able to rob banks, but maybe didn't have the right gear to be able to play the game originally when it came out, or are a little more casual fans and it was a little too hardcore experience for them. We want something to introduce new fans to this universe, to give them a chance to become the ultimate heister, and potentially set the table for them to transition over to the full experience in Payday 2 or Payday 3. With that in mind, we looked at the code base as well, and the game had been in development for quite a while, and seen a few pivots in its development, and it just, after digging into it for a while, it was clear that the best course of action was going to be to start from scratch, to have full control of the code base and what we wanted to do, and create things in a clean and sustainable way so that we could build on this product for years to come, much like Payday 2 has been growing for the last basically decade. It was a tough decision to make, but ultimately for the product that we wanted to deliver and the way we wanted to deliver it, it was just the best course of action to kind of start from scratch there.
Yeah, makes sense. So you can execute the kind of the best vision that Popreach could have, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I guess on that note, like obviously I wasn't involved in this decision. I wasn't initially part of it, but when Ed kind of brought it up to me, this is what it was, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. I mean, it just made sense to me. It was something that we can bring the Heist Foundation over and really kind of grow it from there. And it's been a while since Payday was first released, so possibly some modernization and all that. And I think we have a very good foundation to get started on it.
Absolutely, yeah, sounds good. Well, we'll look at some gameplay in a minute then and kind of talk about it in more detail. One extra thing I wanted to talk about then, so obviously you touched on it a little bit, you were just talking then about, bringing it to new audiences as well as appealing to the fans. When you've been building this game, have you been building it more with existing Payday fans in mind, or more spreading it more out to the mobile gaming audience, or maybe somewhere in between? Where was your main kind of focus for the demographic?
Well, Payday has such a huge following that inevitably the hardcore fans are going to take a look at this game probably at some point. And so we want to make sure that we respect them and it's something that appeals to them. But at the same time, there's so much untapped potential beyond the PC market, especially within the mobile market, of fans that can join this amazing community. So we want to try to do that. And we felt the best way to do that was to give them the real Payday experience on mobile. Obviously, we can't fit the full Payday 2 game on your phone. It's a massive game with years of content. So we're doing our best to basically pick the best bits from it and try to distill it down to a bite-sized experience that is still true to Payday 2.
Yeah, fantastic. That sounds really, really good. Yeah, and that's one thing that I'll definitely say when we get into the footage in a moment. It definitely, from what I've seen, looks very reminiscent of how Payday 2 plays out in just a lot of the design. It does seem very much like Payday 2 compacted onto a phone, so I can definitely see what you're saying there with the vision. And it's a little bit too big of a game to fit on a phone. I'm constantly battling with about 10 gigabytes on my phone now. I couldn't fit 80 on there. It would be way too much of a challenge.
Yeah, like it's definitely somewhere in between, but we're still accounting for what makes Payday Payday. We have teammates with like hundreds and thousands of hours of experience with the game, so they're here to keep us make sure while we're still modernizing, we're still hitting the right notes and making it Payday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sounds good.
We're also in regular contact with the crew at Starbreeze and Overkill. They're getting eyes on the game. We're discussing design decisions and what things fit and don't fit with the overall flavor and tone of Payday 2. And so we're trying to make sure that we capture that correctly.
Gotcha, yeah. Fantastic. That's good. I'm glad to hear there's a kind of a good communication channel there as well. It makes a big difference. Okay, so we've got 3 videos that I want to explore in detail. One's looking at the main menu and some of the different things that obviously you can find on there. And then we've got 2 bits of gameplay, some loud gameplay and some stealth. So I want to start off with the menu. I want to explain, or at least ask you guys to explain, what's new here, what are the different parts of this menu, and how progression and that kind of area is going to work in Payday Crime before we get into the nitty-gritty of how it actually plays. So I want to start off firstly, one thing I've really noticed in this new menu screen is the loadout options and the heisters and their kind of unique traits and the skill tree classes. So can we start by just kind of taking everyone through how the loadouts and the heisters work in this game?
Sure. So to start off, in early access, you're going to have access to the 4 main heisters, Dallas Chains, Wolf Hoxton, and each of the characters are going to have their own unique special ability. tied to that character. So that's going to help define your role within your crew that you play, whether it be more of a stealthy role, healer. Each is related to the 4 different classes.
And I presume that obviously as time passes, there are a lot more characters than the base 4. Are there any plans to add any extra characters in over time as the game progresses?
Yeah, so we want to be able to introduce as many of the characters that you're familiar with from Payday 2 as possible. Legal restrictions pending, but we want to make sure that your fan favorites are always there for you to play, and that they're somewhat representative of how they play and feel in Payday 2 as well. So the abilities that they'll be given will be very similarly tied to things in their perk decks, for example, in Payday 2, to try and give it the same feel using them in your crew.
That's good. That sounds really, really good. And I also noticed, and this was quite surprising, I think, to me when I looked at the voice for myself, is that when you've got your different loadouts and you're picking your heists and your loadouts, you're also going to have class skill trees coming soon. So do you want to talk about how that's going to work? Because that seems like a lot to add into a mobile game. So is it going to be very reminiscent of Payday 2's skill system?
We want to try and make it be reminiscent. The skills that you upgrade your heister with, that's your form of progression for your heisters. And so that will really help evolve your heister over time as you progress through the game and help, really expand their role within their crew, have them be more defined one way or another, or you could be kind of wide branching and play a few different roles. That'll really be the growth and development of your heister as you progress through the game. It's also a really great element for you to be able to customize, right? If you get further down the road and you realize that you want to respec your skill tree and try a different role with that character, there's going to be min-maxing going on to try and get the most out of those skill trees, especially as you get into the late game.
It sounds good. There's a good level of depth I'm seeing in here that I think is really quite good, and it certainly backs up what you're saying about you want to make it feel as much like Payday 2 as possible on a phone. So when I saw that skill tree system, I thought, wow, that wasn't something I expected, to have that level of kind of options available to you looking through the characters. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. That'll be good. The next thing in the video I wanted to pick out is with regards to XP rewards. There's a progression system in play here, and I wanted you guys to kind of talk me through how that's going to work in the game.
So the progression economy within Payday Crime War is a little bit different than Payday 2. You'll be progressing through these user levels, and as you do, you'll unlock different rewards as you progress. And you unlock these different levels by upgrading the weapons that you collect throughout the game.
And with regards to that, I can see obviously you can unlock some guns as you're going along, but I also saw that the safe system is in the game as well, which was something that was in the original build of Crime War, if I'm not mistaken. So that was the idea that you would unlock safes over time through playing the game, and they would give you, was it a duplicate weapon system? It worked with getting copies of the gun to level it up, is that right?
Yeah, so as you play PvE heists and even PvP matches, you'll win safes that you'll be able to unlock, and this will be your main mechanism for acquiring new gear and leveling up the gear that you have. So once you get enough duplicates of an item, you'll be able to upgrade that item. And doing so will grant you XP, which will progress you in your user level.
Okay, so it all overlaps quite well then. So the XP overlaps to the weapon unlocks, and then vice versa. It's all like quite well connected then in that sense.
Yeah, so basically if you want to level up, you just gotta go play more heists, win more safes, open more safes, collect more gear, and Bob's your uncle.
Higher level items give more XP. Increasing your user level will unlock things like new heisters, gear, safes, and possibly additional things. Stay tuned.
And as you upgrade weapons as well, it's going to unlock different attachments for those weapons. So it'll help you customize that weapon for your preferences, attaching new sights, muzzles, stocks, grips, just like in Payday 2. And so each weapon will have 9 different options available to equip to your weapon.
Okay, good. So there's a good amount of kind of customization in there as well with terms of the progressions of how things will look and how they'll play. Speaking of extra things coming soon, stay tuned. One thing I noticed on the main menu was a couple of pop-ups in the top right corner. There was a mention of a crime pass and side jobs. So if we can take those one by one. So what is a crime pass going to be? Can you tell us anything about that, or is that too early to tell?
Crime pass is our version of a battle pass system, basically. And it's going to give you free rewards just for playing the game, and it will be kind of a seasonal crime pass. So for a given season, there will be themed rewards. We plan for there to be cosmetic items to kit out your heister with, to really express yourself. And the way that you go about progressing through the crime pass system is through these side jobs. And so the side jobs are basically a bunch of daily, weekly, seasonal challenges that can be done by just playing the game, basically. And these challenges will reward you with the progression through the crime pass. So the more side jobs you complete, the further you'll progress through that crime pass. There will also be a paid track to the crime pass, as similar in many battle passes. So it will give you extra rewards for completing the same side jobs, basically.
Would you earn any progress towards the crime pass just from playing the heists as well, or is it exclusively just from doing the challenges?
All of the challenges will be something that you'll be doing in the heists, right? It could be something like revive 3 of your crew members, or something like that would be one of the side jobs, and doing so would then grant you progress in the crime pass. So it's all tied to things the player will probably be doing anyways, and maybe just pushing you to explore different mechanics in the game that you may not have otherwise explored.
Gotcha. Okay, and the last part of this video I want us to look at is the CrimeNet screen. So obviously how we're going to get our jobs in the game. It looks a little bit different to the Payday 2 CrimeNet screen. So my question is, looking at this, we can see a few job options and some information if you click on any one of the heists. How does it work in this game? Do you have all the options available to you at any one time, or do they pop in and rotate out in a similar way at least to Payday 2?
So you'll start with West End. We're going to start with a couple heists and a PvP game mode. For the PvP heist, there's going to be multiple difficulties, and as the game expands and as you level up, you're going to unlock new districts and have access to new heists, and as we kind of update the game. PvP may work a little differently. I don't think we're ready to talk about that yet, but you can expect to kind of have the option to play kind of any PvP mode once you have it unlocked.
Okay, sounds good. Hopefully we can talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Okay, so the first bit of footage we've got here is from Bank Heist, so we're just going to have a little look through this. Can you guys talk me through what we're seeing here and how the gameplay here in Payday Crime War is going to be similar, different to Payday 2 maybe?
Right, so the Bank Heist is going to be the first heist that you start out in, and what we've done with our heists is we've tried to capture the essence of the full heist in Payday 2 and distill it down to a shorter mobile experience. While trying to keep the best bits. Here we've got a crew of 4 heisters in co-op online playing together, trying to break into the vault and get away with that cash. And we've got SWAT coming in the back door, we've got SWAT out in the street trying to stop your progress. And we've tried to capture all of the main mechanics from Payday 2 in here. We've got the drill going, and we've got some civilians tied up. And so we're trying to create basically a distilled version of the full Payday 2 experience to play on your phone.
Yeah, like a lot of it is just keeping this part engaging, right? You know, the SWAT's constantly coming in. You're kind of trying to drill the vault, get the cash all at the same time, and just making sure that, you know, create teamwork. So like the game is a lot more fun when you're playing together. So
in this footage, as you said, there's 4 players. Does that mean you always have to have 4 players on the mobile version, or in this can you go it alone solo if you want to?
Currently in Payday Crime War, we've got a pretty good matchmaking system. We're going to try and find matches for you to get you a full crew of 4 players. Whether you do it just through matchmaking or you actually invite your friends directly to your crew before you start the heist, you'll have the option to do either. In the rare chance that there aren't enough players in the matchmaking pool to join with you, there is a chance that you could end up in a heist by yourself, but we think the best Payday experience is when you're playing with other people and you're working together.
Absolutely, yeah, couldn't agree more. And one thing I'd like to focus on as well, Hitch, very briefly, is obviously when this game was first pitched by Overkill and Starbreeze, the idea was it was going to be a fully PvP game. One team plays as the cops, one team plays as the heisters. Obviously the footage we're seeing here is PvE. So talk a little bit about why you've chosen to go for a more PvE angle and how it might differ when you've got AI versus human players fighting against you.
Well, PvE gameplay is far more approachable for the average user, especially to learn a new game. It allows us to kind of control the pacing. It doesn't throw you in against players that are way more skilled than you. It allows you to learn at your own pace and to learn in an environment where you're supported by the crew members around you as well. And you know, when you're playing against bots, it's a little bit easier for you to kind of learn the mechanics and feel a little more powerful as well. But we still do want to have a PvP experience, so we'll have that as something that unlocks for you as well to play. We wanted to capture the gameplay from PvE and try and translate that into a PvP experience, and that's very much like trying to complete an objective, trying to rob a bank, trying to out-heist your opponent. Because in Payday 2, it's about trying to become the ultimate heister.
So when this begins to push out on its early access to new territories, is it just going to be PvE to begin with and PvP later, or is PvP going to be showing up sooner rather than later?
In early access, so we've got Bank Heist, we've got Jewelry Store as the two PvE heists that are available right now. And then we've also got our Cash Grab PvP mode, which just sees 2 teams of 4 trying to steal more cash from each other's safes back and forth. We'll be adding more heists as we do new updates, and we'll be hopefully sharing some news soon as well about additional PvP modes and maps.
Sounds good. So is it that, in that case, from you saying, robbing cash from each of the safes, is it going to be that both sides are playing as the heisters, but like their own teams, rather than anyone playing as the cops?
Yeah, we believe that the Payday experience is about playing as the heisters and trying to take on ultimate jobs and trying to complete the objective using the skills and abilities that you've been crafting.
I think we want to kind of push the idea of who is the ultimate heister, who is the best heister, and kind of push it in that aspect.
All right, then, let's have a look at the second video and talk a bit about stealth then. Okay, so here's our footage for the stealth side. So I'm really interested about this myself because I'm a very big fan of stealth in Payday 2, and this wasn't something that was in the original version of Payday Crime War. So can you talk to me a bit about why you've added stealth now and how it's going to play out in this game and how it might be similar or different to Payday 2?
Yeah, so stealth is a massive part of Payday, and especially in a PvE co-op experience, that's where the ultimate challenge lies. It's one thing to go in, guns blazing, smash and grab, and just have fun shooting around, but at the same time, it's much more challenging to coordinate with your crew, to go in and figure out where things are, to find the best route into the bank or jewelry store in this case, and work together to try and get in there without getting spotted. We've been really inspired by Payday 2 and a lot of other stealth games. In our execution here of stealth, there's cameras, as you can see, there's different access points into the building, and we've tried to take all the best bits from Payday 2 and simplify it down into a mobile form.
Yeah, that sounds good. Does the detection system work similarly or differently to Payday 2? Because I noticed there at the end, obviously we're looping this as we're talking, but there was kind of a bit, everyone got spotted at the end. Was that the camera detecting it, or how does the detection system work in stealth here?
So we've got civilians and guards that can see or hear you. We've got cameras that can see you. There's a guard in the security room that you can take out similarly to Payday 2. And the big thing is that a lot of these things are all randomized each time you play the heist. So the location of the security room, some of the entrances will be open or closed, location of and number of civilians and guards, and where the guards path. So you'll have to be tracking all of these things to pull off a successful stealth heist.
I think that's just part of it. You're able to kind of do things completely stealth, but as you can see in the video, things did go loud, and that's just a big aspect of it, right? You try to play as much stealth as you can, and unfortunately, and usually it's one of your teammates. Hopefully, you get caught, and things just escalate, and it becomes this whole other experience.
Yeah, so it's still very free flow in this game. You can transition from stealth to loud easily in the way you could in Payday 2. Then in that case.
Exactly.
It's typical Payday 2 that things inevitably go loud. But in the event that you are able to successfully pull off a stealth heist, there is bonus rewards for doing so.
Sounds good. A nice little challenge for people like me who love to kind of push themselves a bit on the stealth objective, so that's really exciting. All right, guys, well, thank you very much for sharing all that footage and just taking the time to talk to me about all of this. I've just got a couple of questions that I want to wrap up with. The first one of which is just a general kind of pitch from you guys. You guys have spent a lot of time on this game now. You obviously know how it's going to work, what the best parts and features are going to be either coming in from Payday 2 or making this game a bit more unique. I want to ask you first off, what do you think makes Payday Crime War an exciting game for fans of the Payday universe? What stands out to you guys?
Well, it's a great opportunity for existing fans of Payday to be able to play anywhere they want, and with whoever they want, especially if it means that they can play with a friend who never got into Payday for various reasons. It also allows you to invite friends that may never have heard about Payday before. And secondly, it's a great opportunity to play a whole new way with PvP, right? It's something that Payday fans have kind of been wanting for a long time. And so this is the first chance you'll be able to play, head-to-head against other heisters.
Yeah, I think part of the excitement is the game is ever growing. You're going to see it kind of grow. You're going to see this foundation just grow into something bigger. You're going to see Payday, expansion of Payday on phones, and you're going to see it modernized, and you're going to see how everything kind of works together. You're going to see, possibly things like events to kind of see, how it's going to grow and how we're going to see this kind of ever expanding game.
Yeah, the legacy that Payday has had with a decade almost of updates, we're trying to build the same thing. We're starting from the beginning here. This is the foundation that we've got, and we're really excited to begin adding new features, new content, and continue to grow this game for years to come.
That's fantastic. Brilliant. Well, speaking of growing it out, I know in your most recent dev blog, you were talking a bit about early access and certain territories getting a chance to get their hands on. And at the point of recording, it's just about to have some early access in the Philippines. A question I've got for you now is, do you have any kind of idea of timeframes? Obviously, you might not, but anything you can share with regards to when other territories might get their chance to get their hands on this game? So have you got any kind of targets for when we can expect it to spread a bit further worldwide?
So with early access, our content and feature set right now is very focused and limited. And we are using this time to test our networking and multiplayer and matchmaking systems. We're gathering data to review and see how players are progressing through the game. And we want to make sure that it's a really tight experience that is really enjoyable, easy for players to get into, before we start expanding it. And so our hope is to continue to add new features and new content here for the player to experience. And as we do so, and as we basically verify that things are stable and the experience is good, then we can think about introducing new territories and expanding the early access.
Sounds good. Hopefully that means that we'll maybe have our hands on it maybe towards the end of the year or early next year. But either way, I'm just looking forward to kind of getting my hands on it and seeing what else there is to it. It's one thing getting footage to talk about, it's another getting to have a go of it myself, Yeah,
and we want to make sure that it's a good experience when it gets into your hands. So we're taking our time to make sure that we're really checking and testing and getting the data back that we need, so that we can, and the feedback as well. We're looking for feedback from players as we go here. So we're trying to build the game based on what we've heard from the players.
Sounds good. And then, well, to my final question to wrap up then, is just to hand over the mic to you guys. Do you guys have anything you'd like to close this interview with, any kind of message for fans of the Payday universe who might be interested in playing Payday Crime War?
Yeah, we're just really thrilled to have this opportunity to work with Starbreeze and Overkill to bring Payday to your mobile phone. And we're going to continue to gather feedback from the community and work with Starbreeze and Overkill to make sure that Payday Crime War is the truest Payday experience we can create. We're so excited to be able to add new content as we go, and we hope that this game continues to grow and it continues to be led by the community, for the community. One thing I'll add as well is that obviously this game's been in development for a long time, and Payday fans have been waiting for this game for a long time. And with starting from scratch, it kind of resets that a lot. But we're focused and committed to creating the best experience we can with the team that we have, and we really appreciate the fans' patience here in this process. And we're hopeful that this is all worthwhile, and that it's going to lead to a really fun Payday experience that you can play with your friends.
Yeah, and as kind of Ed alluded to, we've been working really hard on this game, gathering feedback, working within and working just to make this really the best experience, we're just really excited to kind of get it in your hands, and we're just kind of getting close to the finish line for the start and just pushing ourselves to try to make this the very best experience we can make it.
Yeah, we've been working a lot. Like, in a way, this is the finish line, but in a way, it's just the starting line, right?
Yeah, you're setting off a good kickoff and then just seeing what you can do from there. That's fantastic. Well, thank you guys both very much. It's been an absolute pleasure to kind of get a peek behind the curtain, so to speak. As you said, it's been a long time since this game was announced, and even since the last time we were able to play an early version when Overkill released it, so it's exciting to kind of get a bit of a look and talk about it a bit more. So thank you very much for giving me the chance to do this. Much appreciated.
Yeah, our pleasure. It's great to chat with you, Troy.
And that concludes my interview with Ed Hicks and Cameron Wu regarding Popreach's development of Payday Crime War. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please make sure you give a thumbs up. As I've said, it helps greatly and shows me you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And again, get leaving some comments down below. What do you think of Payday Crime War? Does this interview excite you? Do you think you're going to be playing the game when it comes out? Are you looking forward to the early access? Let me know all your thoughts and more down below. And as I said earlier, finally, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so to help us on our road to 30k by the end of 2022. But apart from that, thank you all very much for watching. I will see you all very soon with a brand new video. Until then, look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching.